Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Genuinely Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I hope you're well as we get closer to Christmas. Thank you so much to those of you who joined my webinar, my Bossing Your Sober Christmas webinar. We got through quite a lot of stuff in there. I think quite a few tips and ideas for the festive season, and it was really nice to see some podcast listeners, Sober Club members. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you weren't able to make it, but you want to catch some of the tips, then if you just go to thesoberclub.com, click on blogs, and you'll see the link there to the blog post where you can listen back to the audio of the event. It's completely unedited, so it's nothing fancy, but you can hear a whole bunch of stuff there, a whole bunch of tips there, particularly if you're relatively new to sobriety. It's a really good idea to kind of solidify all of that. I always think, kind of lay those foundations. But that'll be up for a little while. So thesoberclub.com blog/blog, or just look at the show notes for this podcast and you'll find a link to it there as well. This week, I'm just going to rerun a little clip from an interview that I did with the lovely, fabulous Susan from Hola Sober. You know that Susan and I like to gas, and we always have great fun when we have a chat. But I listened back and I thought, actually, there's no point in reinventing the wheel. Let's just rerun this, because we have a great chat about tips and ideas for the Christmas period, the festive season, and a bit of generic stuff. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. Even if you heard it the first time, you might enjoy listening to it again. So just to preempt that, this recording was done obviously not recently. It was for the podcast last year. And when we recorded it last time, I think it was just before Thanksgiving. So you might hear us comment on Thanksgiving and think, what? That's gone. It's just because I'm playing this again, as it were. So don't get too confused. It's not that I've forgotten when Thanksgiving is. It's just that I don't want to edit every word. It's crazy. So just figured you could cope with that a little bit, but still really enjoy it, because Susan, she's just so inspirational, and I love her energy. So I really hope you'll enjoy hearing that clip again. Just before we get into that, I just want to remind you that, obviously my memoir is out, and I mean, of course I would say that, wouldn't I? But it makes a great Christmas present. Of course it does. Anyone who wants to look back at the 80s and 90s, or anyone who loves the music biz, or anyone who's a Steve Wright listener, that's quite a lot of people. So if you want to grab yourself a copy, if you want a signed copy for someone, then I'll do my best to get it to you before Christmas. If you message me, and I'll just tell you the amount, you can pop the money into PayPal or something, and we'll do it that way. So just message me. I'm very easy to find, at Genuinely Grace across social media, or just go via thesoberclub.com. If you want a copy of From Wham to Woo, A Life on the Mic. And we've finally got a couple of dates sorted for January. So January the 10th, Friday, January the 10th, it's going to be a really fun 80s night in Andover. It's a venue called The Lights, a theatre called The Lights. And I'm going to be doing it with Chris Jackson, who is a presenter on Castledown FM. And he loves his 80s stuff and his nostalgia. So we've got a band playing. We're going to no doubt have some 80s music. It's going to be really fun, and it would be just great to see you there. Be really great to meet some more podcast listeners, or bring your friends, anyone you like. So it's The Lights in Andover on the 10th of January. If you go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, or genuinelygrace.com, click on events, you'll see the link for it there. And then right at the end of January, I'm finally going to get to go to Edinburgh. Oh my goodness, I've been talking about it for ages. I'm super excited. Going to be going up to Edinburgh. I'm doing Blackwells, the bookshop, on the 29th of January. That will be in the evening. And in the afternoon, sort of late afternoon, I'm going to do a meetup, some kind of I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what it will be, but it will be fun. So look out for that. That will be on the soberclub.com as well. The Blackwells event is already there, and my little sober club meetup, but of course it's open to podcast listeners, will be there as well. So pop that date in your diary, the 29th of January, if you're in Edinburgh or somewhere in Scotland. I love Edinburgh. I just love it. So I'm so excited to be there. And I often get emails from people that say, come up to Edinburgh. So I finally am. So I really hope you can pop the 29th in your diary. We will definitely be doing another live podcast in the spring. There's going to be some more family constellations, and I'm cooking up some very exciting retreats. So there's going to be lots of opportunities. I hope it really has been lovely over the last few weeks getting to meet some podcast listeners. It's been, really special. I mean, connection. It's everything, isn't it? I know I always bang on about that, but and I really feel it for myself, doing that kind of book tour, going around those venues. I mean, they're really small events, don't make any money at all. It's exhausting. But man, is it worth it? Just getting to meet people who come up to you and say, oh, I listened to the podcast. It's made such a difference in my life. Or, I just really appreciate knowing there's other people out there who are on the same path. It's everything. That connection is everything. So if you kind of haven't had any of it yet, then see if you can plan some, certainly for the new year. What I meant to say was the other thing I meant to tell you that I'm going to be doing setting your intentions for 2025. And this is a really intensive, if you like, in a good way, workshop that I do every year. But this one's going to be slightly different. So it's on Thursday, the 2nd of January, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I think we've set it for. So hopefully everyone isn't back at work yet, or not fully ensconced anyway. So January the 2nd, and 5 o'clock late afternoon. And hopefully that will work for you if you're somewhere else in the world as well. And we're going to be doing a workshop around letting go of what you want to, say thank you for, but let go from the year gone, and welcoming and setting your intentions for 25. And it's a really powerful process to do this. It's such a great thing to do at the beginning of the year. Whether you're sober curious, thinking about it, few months in, doesn't matter. Come and join us for this workshop. We will incorporate some NLP techniques, almost certainly. There's going to be some meditation in there, because my guest is Sandy Newbigging, who I've known Sandy for years. He's an amazing author, created the Calm Method, and he is a meditation teacher, fellow Hay House author. I've known him for years. He does incredible programs. He's got a fascinating story to share himself. And I'm going to be chatting with Sandy. One of the things that he specializes in is helping people set intentions. So he's going to be doing a little bit of that, and he will guide us in a meditation as well. So, I mean, if you've never done anything like that before, come on down. You don't have to switch camera on. You don't have to, it's entirely up to you. There is a little fee for that one, because I wanted to limit numbers. I need to be able to keep track of numbers. So I'll put the link in the show notes. And you can go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, and grab your tickets there. The money will go into our Sober Club giveback fund. It's not much, but I really hope you can join us for that. So pop that date in your diary as well, January the 2nd. So as I say, we've got some tips from Susan, some tips around Christmas. Just to add to this, if this is your first Christmas sober, there's no doubt about it, can feel stressful. I know that many people are at that stage where they're hoping, they're kind of they've got that sense of, well, I'm crossing my fingers, I'm crossing fingers and toes that that everything goes okay and I stay sober. Well, sorry to rain on your parade, but that won't work. You can't just cross your fingers. You have to put your plan in place. As we said on our live podcast last week, have a plan. It really is a case of, you get more of what you focus on. So if you really properly focus on a sober Christmas, and there is nothing better, being fully present. If you put your prep in place, that's what will happen for you. And absolutely get connected. So you can come on the Sober Club on Christmas Day and and we can cheerlead each other. It really is the most amazing thing. So do check out that blog post with all the tips there. Have a listen to our webinar, Bossing Your Christmas Sober. Put your plan in place. And of course, this little interview will help. Just a reminder, we do mention Thanksgiving. That's because this is another chance to hear this interview with Susan. When it was recorded some time ago, it was late November. So that's the reason why. If you've only just tuned in and you're thinking, what is she talking about? I'm going to rerun this interview. So we do mention Thanksgiving, but obviously, just ignore that bit. So I thought it'd be nice if we can just have a chat between us about our top tips really for how we can cope with the festive season, and partly for those people who are early days, because I think when you're early days sobriety, this kind of season is really tough. It's really tough because all the old associations come back, all the old traditions, the rituals. It's like, oh my God, how am I meant to go to my kids' carol concert and not have mulled wine afterwards? Absolutely. What the fuck? And all of this sort of comes flying in our mind. It feels impossible. But so we'll definitely talk about that. But even for people who've been sober a long time, perhaps months, perhaps they've even done a Christmas or whatever before, there's still a kind of underlying anxiety, I think, that can feel as though it's in place for us all. Because when, we've probably spent, a year or however long, if we've been sober, or months, trying to kind of work out who we are. It's that thing, isn't it? Of we're stepping into this new identity. It's like, and often we're not quite sure who we are. And then we've got to go and be that new person around family members where there's drama and arguments and God knows what. It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot to deal with.
It is. And you know what, whether you're on day 1 or day 10,000, it's inevitable that we've spent more Christmases jarred. October,
exactly.
Right? So we've built up years and years and years of traditions and family and all of the stuff, Christmas parties, office parties, all of it, 3 sheets to the wind on many occasions. And suddenly we find ourselves, facing into the holiday season, as they call it, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever your jam, that, and I think there is a piece in all of us that wants it planned, and we want to control it where we can, because even though I'm nearly 4 years not drinking, 4 years sober. And what I've noticed is that I do still have exit strategies, so if I'm invited to the office party, or if you're going to drink stew with the girls, right? I still this year, I will be the designated driver. Do you know? I will actually be the woman with the car keys, that I will pick you up, Janie, and I will drop you home.
Good idea.
That is one of my sort of control things. I'm the driver, always the driver.
Well, I think knowing that you're going to be able to make an early exit is really important. I mean, that's the only problem with being the driver, is you might have to wait to the end. So
and that has happened to me too. Right?
I sometimes say to people, don't drive, book your cab. Or have someone pick you up early, and give the other person a heads up that you're going to be leaving early. I mean, they won't notice because they'll be half cut anyway.
That's the point.
But give them a heads up, and it doesn't matter if you fib. Who cares? It can be whatever you like. Oh, I've got a late night call, or I've got to deal with something, or I've got to be up at 5 a.m. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Just whatever your excuse is, but give a heads up you're going to be leaving early, because you sure as hell will not want to be there till the end, because drunk people are boring.
That's it. They get to the I love you man on
did we do that one last time? Did we do that? Let's just do that one. So this is one of Jason Vale's fantastic lines. Jason Vale, Juice Master. You might have heard it. He did a podcast with me, and I did a podcast with him, but this is one of his lines from years ago. He said, and this is something he always talks about, which I've always loved. He says, when you're like you with your mates and everything, he goes, and they all they get a little bit tipsy, and then they put their arm around you and they go, I love you, in a kind of a drunken slurry way, like, oh yeah, that's nice, and then couple more drinks later, 2-3 more drinks, and a little bit later down the line, arm around you, I love you, you bastard, and then couple of hours later, a few more drinks. It's just, You bastard. It totally sums it up, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And you want to be away before it hits that.
Gosh, you do. You want to be away before it gets that kind of messiness of I love you, man, and repetition. And when they get straight to bastard, you should have gone home an hour ago, quite frankly. Absolutely. But there is this thing whereby, I'll tell you another one that I learned in my early, we say, I think maybe it would have been 2019. I'm a person who always arrives on time. I don't know about you, but I'm punctual. Okay, I don't like to mess around. I'm on time. I'm always on time. When I stopped drinking, I started to not be early, right? I didn't want to be hanging around the bar early, being first there, second there, third there, for we were meeting people for drinks, to be standing, because I was really conscious in those early days that they were walking in expecting me to have a glass of wine in my hand, and I was having a tonic water, or a beer. What I also learned at that point in a very early sobriety, it comes into my inbox all the time. People say to me, do you bring your own bottle, or, do you, that sort of thing? Do you know what you're going to drink? And I am the girl who, before I've gone to restaurants, no matter whether it was at home in Ireland or here, I will go online and Google their alcohol menu.
Yeah, or ring them up. Yeah.
Know what beers they'll have.
Absolutely.
I would go in there then with great confidence saying, I'll have a 0.0 Heineken or an Achurio or whatever the case
definitely.
may be.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that it's getting better on that front, isn't it? But there are still places that don't have much at all. So I always do still say to people, ring them up, ask them what they've got, grown up drinks. If they say Coke or lemonade, then shame on you, see what they've got. And if they really don't have anything very much, then you can just say, listen, I really want to bring my own, and I can pay you corkage. And Laura from Club Soda gave me this tip years ago. She said you should be paying corkage for a soft drink because you wouldn't be drinking alcohol. So this whole idea of charging you corkage, 20 quid or something for the wine that you're not drinking is bizarre. You would be drinking a soft drink, not an alcoholic drink.
Yeah.
So you offer to pay corkage for a soft drink if you have to bring your own. But hopefully, things are changing enough that more and more places now have got good choices. So yeah, I mean that is. So we've got 2 tips already. Okay, so definitely plan your exit strategy.
Absolutely.
and also I think for your own mindset, have something nice to look forward to the next day. If you're particularly if you're away on a weekend with girls or whatever, then I think that you're going to leave early, that the next morning they're all going to be hungover, so plan something nice for yourself the next morning, even if it's a class or just an early walk, but something you can commit to that you're going to feel great when you get up early.
I've actually done that. I've booked hair appointments for like 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and I've gone for a full conditioning treatment or whatever, and I've gone for it in a really joyous way because I know they're all
comatose.
And I'm up with the larks and out and about and is there nothing more gorgeous than coming into the hotel at midday when they're all hanging?
Oh, I know.
You're absolutely on top of your game. You just had a wash.
I know.
And you're sitting in the lobby saying, how are you feeling? Can I get you anything?
There are times when we can be smug.
That's it. And so we've got 2 tips. It's often those moments. It's often those moments.
No, totally. We can own them. So we're going to plan our exit strategy and maybe plan something nice the next morning, or for when we get home. Sometimes it just keeps you going long enough to know that when you get home, you've got a lovely fresh bed linen and a nice hot chocolate waiting for you. That stuff is nice. That's self-care that we never used to do when we were drinking, because we would, crash in the door, straight into bed, feeling like absolute hell. Makeup doesn't even come off.
No.
We can actually enjoy the ritual of properly getting ready for bed and actually enjoying it. So that's number 1.
Self-care. And I tell you, so many women love fresh bed linen.
Yeah, I know. It's such a little thing, isn't it? I know, right? It's a little thing, but it's good.
I love it. And the hot chocolate is enough to get me home many a night, because I do a very flamboyant hot chocolate.
Oh, do you?
Here with it. Oh, I do. Yes, absolutely.
What do you do? Because do you do a raw cacao one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because I do that.
Because here we are very big into the thick, gloopy hot chocolate with sugar.
Okay.
right? Which
Oh,
I
yeah, of
shouldn't probably
course.
eat, but
Yeah.
at Christmas we always do.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
always have them. So for me, that's a kind of something. It's both sweet. It's also it's a treat. It's self-care. And if you're leaving a place and you know that you're going home to have that at 11:30, that's a kind of a cuddle on the couch with a throw in your jammies,
Exactly.
hot chocolate, churros. You've done it, you've gone out, you've socialized, you've had a couple of hours with your friends, whoever they may be, or your colleagues, your office workers, whatever, but you've come home on your terms. You've exited when you chose to. You're coming home to clean bed linen, beautiful hot chocolate, your wits about you, and more importantly, because it does happen at office parties up and down the country, in any country, you haven't made a fool of yourself.
Exactly. How great is that?
You haven't said to your boss ABC, or and I get those stories every year.
I know.
Their come to Jesus moment when they've told the boss exactly what they think of them.
I did that once. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Oh, the pain of the memory.
Yes. But women cringe when they think of that. So for me, sometimes, I do try to remember when I'm going out the door to a function like that, how bad it used
Exactly. Exactly.
As opposed to romanticizing it, going, oh, I used to have such a great time. I used to do this and do that. No, you didn't, sweetheart.
No, exactly.
You got charged. You made a holy show of yourself. You came home with your head hung and head.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
totally
important. Hot chocolate bed.
Yeah. So self-care, exit strategy, self-care when we get back. Always prepping ahead. These are not in order, as you can tell. Always getting ahead, ringing ahead, sorting out drinks. If you're going to be at home, then buy in as much fabulous alcohol-free drinks as you possibly can. Get online, get them ordered, get a huge variety, and have more than you need, because the drinkers will want your stash, won't they? Which is fine. They can try it. They can they can do a sample. So yeah, absolutely prep ahead. Absolutely get the drinks in. Now let's just talk for a minute about the whole the confrontation stuff that always comes up.
Families,
right? Yeah, families, friends. It can be a real thing, and I think if I had to come up with one tip, off the top of my head, it would be don't engage. Don't get engaged in it. Remain neutral. It really needs to be unless it's been brewing for a long time and you've made a decision, okay, I'm actually going to have this out with someone, which Christmas is never really a great time for that. Then far better to just literally rise above it and have loads of topics ready to change the conversation.
Absolutely. I believe when I put down the wine glass, I also bought myself a t-shirt, and I got printed on it, not my circus, not my monkeys, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're jarred or you've had a few, you're loading into arguments that are none of your business, quite frankly, 90% of the time. Or you're saying things within a family that everybody's thinking, but unfortunately you're the one articulating them out loud, which inevitably can lead to confrontation.
Yeah.
So I would 100% agree with do not engage. I think that is so important. We have to kind of hold on to our own sense of self. If you're planning and actually having it out with somebody, can you wait till January or February for your own mental health? There's absolutely no point in doing it over the Christmas party. And there's another one I want to add to that. So do not engage is absolutely critical, crucial, and difficult for a lot of people if your buttons are being pressed, right?
Yeah, if
Mary has been standing on your foot for 10 months, and if Mary has been irritating you, inevitably we all have a limit point, and sometimes we just think it's best to deal with it there and then. No, it's not. Do not engage with any control that is around you. Stay in your own place. And the other one was, I had to learn. And I really did have to learn this when in early sobriety. You see, I thought, Janie, I had to say yes to every.
I was literally just about to say that. I've literally just put a little ebook out called The Power of No. I was just going to come on to, honestly, great minds, eh?
Seriously, I genuinely thought, because you're so vulnerable, aren't you, in the beginning of sobriety and everything. And even as we go on in our years, but certainly in the beginning, in the first year or two, you think, I've got to say yes to Auntie Mary.
Well, you feel grateful to be asked.
That's it.
And if you're a people pleaser, You find it hard to say no to anything.
Absolutely. So I had to learn that I actually could say, no, Janie, I'm not available on Tuesday. Or
no, I'm not bringing the wine. You sort that out yourself if you want to drink it.
Oh, well done. Yes, because somebody actually, would you believe it? Just even as like maybe at the beginning of the summer, when I said to them, when we're invited to their house and they know I don't drink, I said, would you like starter, main course, dessert, whatever, you can take care of the wine. I went, no, actually, that's your department. I will bring my own non-alcoholic, but I'll bring you dessert. You know, no, at holiday season, Thanksgiving for Americans, all the rest of us in Europe for our Christmas lead up and office parties, we don't envision a world where we're saying no, because we're sort of sitting there going, thanks for inviting me. Thanks so very much. I'm delighted. I'm thrilled, you know, whereas we have to begin to believe in our own sense of self and trust our decision to not drink anymore.
I think we spoke, didn't we, last time about how important it is to start to set boundaries, you know, and again, I've said before that when I was drinking, I used to think that people who set boundaries and said no to me were just really mean. You know, but I now realize they were the clever ones. Absolutely. You know, I was totally frazzled, saying yes to absolutely everything and then feeling hugely resentful when it came around. I think part of me, I'd say yes to something, massive amount of my time, absolutely no money, something I didn't want to do anyway, but maybe I was flattered to be asked. It was an ego thing, or just didn't have enough confidence to say no. And then some part of me would hope it would never come around. And then when it did, oh my God, resentful doesn't cover it, you know? So I think we have to be on, well, I mean, it's the power of the pause, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When you're invited to something, when you're asked to do something, you can always say, I'll get back to you. I'm right in the middle of something. I'll get back to you. Take a pause, think about it. And then you can ask yourself, this is where intuition comes in, isn't it? You know, in the family constellations work that I do, we always say, ask your body. Because your body knows the truth. It knows if something is true. If you check in with it, and you take a pause, take a breath, ask your body, is this the right thing for me to do? And it will tell you.
That's powerful, Janie.
It's really powerful. And sometimes it's a bit scary because the gut feeling says, no, I don't want to do this. And then you've got to put your big girl pants on and be brave enough to say no. But by saying no, you can ask yourself, what will saying no free me up to say yes to?
That's exactly.
Because there'll be something else, you know.
That's it. When our body, I love that. Ask our body. I'll be asking my body every day of the week.
Well, you can do a super simple test. I mean, obviously, lots of people know about kinesiology and muscle testing and all of that. But you can just do a very simple test. You can just literally kind of look in the mirror and say, you know, my name is Kevin, and look at your body. And you say, my name is Susan, and we know which one's true.
Absolutely. But asking our body when we get an invitation to the office party or a dinner party or whatever, okay, that is absolutely hugely powerful and allows us to take a pause, because if we put that and marry it with, I'll get back to you on that because I'm in the middle of something, there's a real good stretch of time and instinct for us to actually lean into to decide whether it's a good thing if we go. So that's powerful. But I would also say sometimes I have found, even in my own life, there are no's that I want to say, but I have not been able to say them. Maybe they're for family or whatever. So
there are some commitments that
that's it.
Are tricky.
Some commitments professionally or within a family context, right? Then what I've got to do is I've got to manage the amount of time I spend.
Absolutely.
Right? So I say to Auntie Mary, God love Auntie Mary, I don't have one, just for the record. She's getting hammered here. But I have to say to hypothetically Auntie Mary, I'll be there 2:45. And I'm so looking forward to it. And I have to be somewhere else.
Yeah, just a heads up, got to leave. Yeah, exactly. Right? No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, completely. And that comes back to our exit strategy.
Do you know what I mean? If they're my trigger, if I can't say no, and if Auntie Mary has been standing on my toe for 10 years, I have to go. I have to show face. Just say she's 85. I have to go. I have to, make an appearance. But I just want to go for the hour. So I go, I do my piece, and then I leave. So there, that is it is not a no, Janie, but it's a kind of a managed no.
Absolutely. And I think, I think it's tough for a lot of people in the beginning. And I definitely remember my early weeks and months. In fact, I remember being about 3 months, something like 3 months sober. And I went to something with a bunch of women. It was kind of like a business thing. And God, I can remember as if it was yesterday how fragile I felt. I wasn't quite sure who was going in there. It certainly wasn't the old Janie going in there, who would have acted very differently. It was somebody quite different, and I didn't quite know who she was.
Yeah,
and I think it's worth sharing that, because just because you've ditched the booze does not mean that everything's perfect from day one. You do have a period of adjustment, and it varies for everyone. But this kind of time it takes to step into that sober identity, to actually find out who you are, it takes a while. And when you do kind of social things with people who are drinking, or people you used to be with before, or in a situation where you know that you would have been different, that's when it kind of hits you, and you feel quite exposed. And I remember sitting in this kind of whatever the hell it was, a bunch of female entrepreneurs or something. I felt like I didn't know who the hell I was. So who is this funny, timid little person sitting here, not saying very much, not really kind of, holding court like I would normally do. Certainly not being the one ordering copious bottles of wine and I mean, I didn't know who the hell I was in that moment. It was really odd. It was odd. I can't deny it wasn't odd. So
a lot of women have that, Janie, and a lot of women emerging into their new sober self. There's that insecurity because we don't recognize ourselves, quite frankly. And we go into these social sessions, particularly around Christmas or whatever, and just like you've described. And I think that in those moments is when you do need to be able to listen to your body and not go, if you're not actually capable of crossing the threshold, because you're just feeling so vulnerable.
Exactly. You just say
you were
no.
out last Tuesday, you didn't recognize yourself last Tuesday, because it can be like a pendulum. Exactly. Because it's not like I woke up one day and went, okay, this is who I am. Sober. It's a recalibration over a phase of time.
Exactly. I mean, the important thing to know is it will pass.
Absolutely.
It will pass. Really and I don't know anyone who doesn't like their new self or their real self. I don't know anyone who goes, oh, for God's sake, if only I were back there boozing and being that, absolute git who was always sticking their oar. If only I was that person. Yeah, it does change.
The only regret that one has when one does land in that space is that we took so long to get here.
No, absolutely.
And so therefore, when we get here, it's actually like there's like this huge breath through your body. It's like, this is who I am. And that's when we go into the holiday season and party season, like this year for me, we'll say, I'm not anxious about it. Do you understand? I'm not lying awake going, oh my God, I have to go over there. No, I'm not. But I still follow the same strategies of exit, bring my own bottle. I know when I'm going to drink, I'm phoning the restaurant. I've got clean bed linen, hot chocolates in the press.
Exactly.
I've a managed no or an absolute no.
Yeah.
And the other one I think that I found useful, and a lot of women reading the magazine find useful, is because there will be for some women and men moments whereby they're going to just feel so uncomfortable in their own skin. Yeah. And everybody is saying to them, because they don't know they've given up alcohol, sure, go on, you can have one, you can go back on the wagon tomorrow, right? There is those voices in the room sometimes. That's where modern technology, the phone, and your sober connections from the club are in your phone, that you have someone on speed dial, sometimes even to go to the toilet and phone them.
Absolutely.
I have taken calls from women who are there in a toilet, honestly going, so-and-so's really driving. They keep saying, have one. I'm not going to have one, but I'm getting really frustrated and really annoyed. And we just have a calm chat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've had this in the Sober Club.
Room.
Exactly. It makes such a difference. On that note, actually, I know we're flying around different conversations, but with those people, it's a really good idea, I think, to give people a heads up that you're not drinking. So before you even go, if you're going to be with a group of friends who know you as the party girl or whatever, give them a heads up. You can be a text or whatever you would do. And, oh, by the way, just heads up that I'm not drinking. You can tell the truth or you can fib. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But the important thing is you say, you don't need to worry about me because I've got my great kombucha or whatever. Because as people pleasers, we are worried, other people are worried about us. It's absolutely bonkers, but it is. So if you give them a heads up, it's not quite such a shock. You still often get there and they still go, oh, don't be so sodding ridiculous, have a drink. But you've given your heads up. And it's so important, I think, to go in with that authenticity. And, you know, when someone says, you know, would you like a drink? Yeah, thank you. I'd absolutely love a drink. I'll have an alcohol-free, you know, whatever, please. You know, yes, of course I'd love a drink. And then the second they start on the, oh, you're boring, you know, what's the matter with you? It's literally smile, change the subject. How was your holiday, by the way? You know, I think you have to become, I have said to a couple of clients, I had one woman who was really nervous about going to a wedding party with a bunch of girlfriends that she hadn't seen for a long time, but were all drinkers, and she was really nervous. She really wanted to go because they're, you know, friends and it's a wedding, etc., etc. But she was very nervous about how she was going to feel, and awkward because it was going to literally be a meal with bottomless booze, whatever the hell the expression is. And actually what we decided for her together was that one of the best ways she could deal with this was literally assign herself an acting role for the night, make it fun. Right. So rather than going in with all this nervousness and like, oh God, I might get that wrong, and like, oh no, just feeling so terrified, she just made it fun. She just said, you know what, I'm gonna assign myself the role of a really confident, sober woman who is having fun with her friends, totally knows her boundaries, got loads of stuff going on, and then you can give yourself a little Oscar at the end of the night. Because you played your part, you know, and that actress has got a bunch of lines ready in her script, and they are along the lines of, you know, when somebody says, oh, you know, see, you're boring, you're not drinking, or can't you just have one? It's just, oh, I'm really good. Oh my God, you haven't told me about what happened when you went to X. It's just a load of conversation changers right off the bat, because ultimately people quite like talking about themselves, don't they?
They do. They want, if sober women, we can reroute conversations back on them. They're happy to suddenly.
It can be exhausting. Let's not you know, beat about this. It can be. It's exhausting, which is why you need your fresh bed linen and your hot chocolate. It doesn't last forever.
It doesn't last forever, but it is also the point that maybe in Christmas number 2, as a sober woman, you'll have done your inventory as to where you want to go and what worked, what didn't work. And you sit down on Christmas number 2 and it's a far easier road. Listen, the reality is, it's not just sobriety. The first of anything is tough.
I know, exactly. Holidays, everything. Yeah, it's really true. It's really true.
Everything. And that's where, you know, the sober club and your buddies and connections, all of that is all where it actually has huge merit and value.
Exactly.
You've got your community around you and you can lean into them if you're having a wobble, because the reality is wobbles are fine, but we just never drink even if our ass is on fire. And
absolutely.
It's as simple as that, right? So we phone a friend. It sounds like, do you want to be a millionaire? But we do phone a friend. I always say to someone, phone your best sober buddy, just phone them. And like also, if you can tell people you're not drinking, great, but also put your mate on notice that you're going to a party. Can she make sure she has her phone on?
So get the support you ready. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and
have you can support ready.
You can walk away from conversations in the world we live in with your phone going, sorry, I just have to take this.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand?
You absolutely
can actually remove yourself from a point of danger. You're always going to get the ass hat. Let's call them ass hats, not the other word. I'm going to say, you know, I go on, Janie, have one. Sure, listen, you're grand. Listen, one won't have, because there's always the ass hat who you haven't shared your story with, because he's an ass hat. He's not entitled to our story. So we're not going to give it to that audience. And they keep at you, right? So in those moments, even in the early days, I would just say, sorry, I've just got to take this call. And I would be out and I'd be phoning my sober buddy G, and I'd be going, hello, just talk to me now. That's right. And I would initially, because I'd have told her I was going out. So I have found genuinely in the first holiday season, the greatest thing in my pocket were sober connections.
Yeah, the connections, absolutely.
100%. And just to tell you a funny one of a friend of mine, Travis, in the States. So this is, I think, the greatest indictment on what is the difference between men and what is the difference with women. So he took the traditional route of 12-step, and he had a sponsor. And 2 years ago was his first Thanksgiving. So his exit strategy was in place. And his part of his plan to keep himself sober for Christmas and Thanksgiving was he was going to message his sponsor going to the events, because he did a lot, going to the event, arrival at the event, and then leaving the event, right? So I can only imagine my messages to my best sober buddies going, I'm leaving now, I have red shoes on, I'm wearing a black dress and a green hat. Travis's message to his sponsor was literally arrived in car. Home. Do you understand? His weren't conversations. Travis's were just literally one-worded messages, but they worked and they kept him safe.
Accountable, yeah. It's accountability.
They kept him accountable. That was it. He needed accountability at that he was maybe, I think he was 2.5 months in when Thanksgiving came around.
Yeah.
There were so many family things to go to. He needed that. Somebody at the end of a phone.
Yeah.
But typical man, it was monosyllabic. Least words necessary as possible. A woman would still be on the phone. So therefore, that has worked. Having accountability and using your phone to move yourself out of a situation.
Totally. Doesn't matter what excuse you find.
Absolutely.
There's just one other thing I want to cover, actually, which is, we've spoken a fair bit about, the sort of going out or the party kind of scenario. But I think the other really important part of the festive season and Thanksgiving and Christmas is the rituals that we've all got. And we've all got memories and rituals that we've probably had in our minds since childhood. And I remember reading once about how with relationships with couples, sometimes couples break up. And I think it was a lawyer speaking, a divorce lawyer was speaking, saying that when they finally communicated what had gone wrong, it was the little things, like she got really pissed off that he wanted to put the Christmas tree up 2 weeks before Christmas, and her ritual was Christmas Eve. And many of those, right? Because some of these rituals are so ingrained in who we are, right? They're very important to us, these sort of the emotional connections and the associations, and alcohol can get very caught up with those rituals in the festive season. Really, very
intrinsically part of it. Who didn't put up a Christmas tree without a glass of wine?
Exactly, or Baileys or something, whatever the hell.
Baileys, Irish coffees, or Christmas. I mean, gosh. Back in the day on Christmas Eve, Santa arriving and doing the presents at midnight, 1:00 in the morning, coffee in your hands, I mean, it is an absolute miracle. My children actually got presents on Christmas morning, quite frankly, with some of the Irish coffee that was being consumed by myself. So therefore, the point is that you're absolutely bang on. On the 8th of December, for example, that was tradition day that we put up our Christmas tree when I was growing up. And when I was a mom, I put it up on the 8th. And I would have Irish coffees and do this and the other and the mince pies. And sure, it was a whole big, show going on. Really, it was all about me being able to have an Irish coffee at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. That's the reality. But what I did do was when I gave up the alcohol, I was so grateful that I had conquered that beast. And I was 9 months in for my first Christmas. I remade all. I changed everything. I now put my Christmas tree up on the 1st of December. Like, that's practically sacrilegious from my family, right? I broke rules.
Yeah, changed it up.
I literally threw them in the air, right? Genuinely. And so the 1st of December, my lights go up, my Christmas tree goes up, and I do hot chocolate and churros. Nice. I make cinnamon biscuits. I've sort of just completely changed it. And you know what? It is such a gorgeous thing now on the 1st of December, the first weekend after the 1st of December, for us to do that, because it sounds really cliched. But you know what? The truth of the matter is that those moments with our loved ones and our children and our partners and whoever is helping us put up the Christmas tree, they won't be around forever, right? And therefore, my boys are now grown men, right? And my eldest is 31, Janie, right? He's got his life. He lives in Paris. He's not at home with me anymore on the 1st of December putting up the Christmas tree, right? And I genuinely wasted so many years putting an Irish coffee ahead of the truth and the reality of that moment of
ritual,
putting up my Christmas tree with my boys, right? So now hot chocolate churros and cinnamon biscuits that I share with the other two that are still here, it's like the golden ticket. It is the most precious of days.
I think that's such a lovely idea. So, but I think, before we get to that, we have to acknowledge what our rituals are. So I think it's a case of if you are new, if this is your first sober Thanksgiving or festive season, or take a pause and actually think to yourself, what now I think about it, what do I do? What do I usually do? Where are the obstacles going to come in for me? And then you absolutely can, as you say, either switch them up completely, or keep the ritual, change the ingredients, have your alcohol-free drinks or whatever. But you can prep ahead. It's when things catch you on the hop that the wine witch comes flying in.
That advice is brilliant. What you just said, because you just said we sit down and we roadmap out the holiday season. As crazy as that sounds, we roadmap out our traditions and our routines and rituals, like on a paper, like as if we were at school. So genuinely, that's probably what I did do the first year. Control the controllables, right? So I did out a list, and that's the big one for me was the 8th of December and then Christmas Eve. So I knew they had to be smashed and changed. But if it's your first Christmas and you're listening, roadmap it out, write out the traditions that you follow. Some of them may even surprise you. You will be shocked probably of where alcohol features and how much of it features within your routines and rituals for the holiday season. That has nothing to do with alcohol, but we just made it center stage unwittingly and unknowingly for however long.
Exactly.
And now we've a chance to look at that and go, okay, I'm going to do that differently and that differently. And it also, in the world we live in, you and I, is, we have so many options for alcohol-free.
Yeah, exactly.
And teas and coffees and bloody all of it, right?
Exactly. It really is about prepping ahead, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Love it. Well, we could talk for absolutely hours, but we probably better shut up.
We should actually probably do something for 24 hours for children in need.
We should. It'd be no problem for us, would it? No problem at all.
We should just sit here. Will you just sponsor us?
Longest podcast. That's a really good idea. We should definitely do that. See if anybody wants to sponsor us. This will probably have to sponsor us to shut up.
Absolutely. Yeah, they'll say Janie is still talking. 40 hours in. Please help.
Really good.
Send help.
Perfect. Susan, it's fantastic to chat to you. I'm sure it won't be long.
And it's
try and put a timer on.
Always. Thank you, Janie.
Take care. We'll chat soon. Feeling like your sobriety journey has given you a whole new lease of life? Are you feeling super enthusiastic about sobriety? Ever thought about turning that experience into something bigger, something that could inspire and help others while also building a career that feels truly magical? Why not explore a career that aligns with your values? Think about being a sober coach. You'll play a key role in the growing Sober Curious movement, guiding people towards living their best life without the booze. And of course, you'll lay the foundations for your own journey to well-being. Here's why this work is really special. You get to make a real impact and help others navigate the same path that you've walked. There's personal transformation there, laying the foundations for your own growth and developing your knowledge of holistic health and well-being. Flexibility, build a career and a heart-centered brand on your own terms. Use your story, it's your greatest asset. Grow personally and professionally. Coaching is all about the connection, the continuous learning and the collaboration. You would become part of our family. We have a training that is so comprehensive, from the core modules right through to all the supporting materials and the business sessions. We've got you covered, and you don't need prior experience as a coach. You do, however, need to have had the experience of choosing sobriety and feeling absolutely passionate about inspiring others. So if you're interested, go to thesoberclub.com, click on the main menu, become a sober coach, and then we can arrange to have a chat. They're tiny groups, lots of one-to-one involvement. Get in touch. Thank you, Susan. And just a reminder then, the blog post, Bossing Your Christmas Sober, is up. You can also listen to the webinar that I did live a few nights ago, Bossing Your Christmas Sober. So there's so much, there for you, so many tips. Absolutely reach out. I've had a few people reach out to me this week who they don't want to join the Sober Club. I mean, of course, I'd love it if you did, but they don't want to. That's okay. But tell someone, just get connected. It means so much when you get connected. It gives you another layer of accountability. And of course, if you do want to join us in the Sober Club, well, Christmas is a fantastic time to quit. Don't wait till the new year. Don't wait till dry January. Do it now. Have the best Christmas ever. And we'll help you. I promise you, we'll help you prep. So do check out the Sober Club. And a reminder again about those dates. January the 2nd is our workshop. It does have a little fee attached to this one, but it's really going to be special. And my special guest is Sandy Newbigging, who is a meditation expert and a fantastic author, a fellow Hay House author from some years ago. That's January the 2nd at 5 p.m. online. And then if you can come see me live, please, please, please grab your tickets. January the 10th in Andover at the Lights. And then if you're in Edinburgh, January the 29th at Blackwells, and a little Sober Club podcast kind of thingy before that. So whole bunch of stuff. Enjoy all your Christmas prep. Don't get too, frantic. It's just a day, right? Get connected. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. So important, right? We forget to breathe. Take care of yourself and, think about that whole concept of being present. Just be in the moment. Just be calm. You can hear quite clearly, can't you, that I'm actually talking to myself here. I'm literally saying this to you and pointing four fingers back at myself because of course I get caught up in it all. I'm already feeling stressed that, I haven't got the right gifts and, nobody's going to be happy with what I've got for them. And all of that stuff's coming in. But you know what? It so doesn't matter. So does not matter. What matters is you taking good care of yourself and actually starting to like yourself. And if that feels like a massive bridge too far, well, that's okay. Just be open. Just be open to the whole idea. What will it feel like when I'm someone who actually takes care of myself? I will leave you with that thought. Make sure you follow me on social media. Make sure you reach out if you're struggling. And if you don't check in again before Christmas, then I'll say have a wonderful Christmas. But there will be a podcast next week. I don't take a week off, do I? Of course I don't. I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.